Good morning. It's Sunday, September 24th. What I'm about to tell you is an indication of how screwed up our Senate and Congress are. You know, I worked for a company for 30 some odd years, and we had a very liberal dress code because we felt it was important that employees should feel comfortable. And I actually had to fire an employee at one point in time because he wore T-shirts that had sexual sayings on them that upset many of the women who were working at the business. And I had spoken to him 3 or 4 times, and he didn't pay any attention to me, and finally I fired him for that. So when I hear that Congress is having a problem, or the Senate, actually it's the Senate that's having this problem, and it's with John Fetterman. Now we all remember that Fetterman had that illness, and I'm not sure exactly how bad that illness was, but it was pretty bad because he had been elected and then he was off in a hospital, and now he has chosen to wear comfortable clothing at the Senate. And his comfortable clothing is really more like a sweatsuit, you know, baggy pants and a sweatshirt or whatever it is he feels comfortable in, but he's there to do his job. And he runs meetings in that outfit and everything. And we have several senators who are objecting to his attire. In fact, one of the female senators says she plans to come to the Senate in a bikini. That's okay with me. I would care. I couldn't care less. I don't think being dressed up is necessarily so important when you've got a lot of work to do and you want to be comfortable. So what's the big deal? This guy's there if he's doing the professional job that he was voted to do, then leave him alone. You should all be comfortable. Dress neat, dress clean, and go to work. And I worked for many times in shorts when I worked in the post office and things like that. But when I had a better job and when I was the boss, I wore a shirt and tie every day because I felt that was the important attire to do. So I don't know what this big deal is that they're making about Fetterman and his clothing. They got more important things to do. And the fact that some of his comrades were upset with his dress code, Fetterman went further. He started a campaign selling merchandise, making fun of his sanctimonious critics, including a $50 "I vote in this hoodie" sweatshirt. So when Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, whose Republican presidential campaign has been falling apart, attacked Fetterman for wearing the sloppy clothing, which he called dumbing down, the Pennsylvania senator said, "I dress like he campaigns." And Fetterman wouldn't stop. He was having too much fun with this whole thing. And Fetterman made an offer. And he said, if those jack-offs in the House stop trying to shut our government down and fully support Ukraine, then I will save democracy by wearing a suit on the Senate floor next week. A jack-off, according to the dictionary.com, is Pittsburgh slang, used to refer to a jerk or an idiot, or really any kind of irritating or unlikable person. So, figure that. We have a senator who's walking around in a sweatsuit and pointedly calling many of his comrades jack-offs, jag-offs, Jagoff, jag-offs. And he's probably right on target there. In fact, he's definitely on target there. Because when you look at what the country's Republicans are trying to do, it's insane. They are driving the country toward a government shutdown. Because when the funding runs out at the end of September, they will be stopping U.S. military aid to the Ukraine. That's one of their central demands. And a $24 billion supplemental appropriation request from the Biden administration to keep the weapons and the assistance flowing has now become entangled in the middle of this government shutdown fight. Why? Why are these Republicans so against defending democracy in another part of the world? And the worthless House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, has been trying to stop his comrade, but he's been notably ineffective. We can almost be sure by the middle of next week, the inevitability of the shutdown will become real. And this real situation has been caused by Republicans. And one Republican, Mike Simpson of Idaho, complained about that. He said, why are they always blaming us? Why? Well, they're blaming them because every shutdown since 1995 has been caused by Republicans. And that's because Newt Gingrich, who at that point was the House Speaker, embraced the tactic. He thought it was great to shut the government down. But I don't believe in government shutdowns. I don't believe that that's the way to get anything done. You make everybody suffer for your cause. Why can't you compromise? Why can't you sit down at a table and, like a human being, compromise? We didn't have these problems over 20 years ago. We didn't have the problems we're having right now in the Senate, in Congress. It's a new mode of doing business. It's my way or the highway. Well, that's a bullshit way to run a country. And who do you think threw his 2 cents into the pot? Our esteemed ex-president, who had the country shut down in 2018 and early 2019 for the longest shutdown ever in this country's history. Trump is in there telling McCarthy that he's wrong. The Republicans in Congress can and must defeat all aspects of crooked Joe Biden's weaponized government, he claimed. Does he think the government's weaponized because he lost an election? Does he think the government's weaponized because he's got 90 indictments against him? If Trump was an intelligent man, he would keep his mouth shut and pay attention to the criminal cases that he's confronted with. So he's sticking his 2 cents in there and telling them to shut down the government. And he wants the House Republicans to bring the operations of the U.S. government to a halt. And these stupid Republicans will probably stand by the former idiotic president. So if we look at this Republican Party right now, fighting this budget and standing with the ex-president, who is the titular head of this party right now, we can see that this country is in dire straits. And one of the worst things that's happening is that you have a group of Republicans who are trying to stop our defense, stop our spending in the Ukrainian war. That country needs all the help it can get. We must continue to fight for democracy. And not helping Ukraine would be a huge mistake on the world stage. So let's get the Republicans lined up and get them straightened out. That should be our mission. Get rid of the Trump era. I leave you with those crazy thoughts. Bye.